and happy living with Teriaq. I am Dalia Gamil. Hopefully, you can hear my smile. Today, we're diving into the science of behavior and how it can transform the way we approach wellness, habits, and even parenting. I am thrilled to welcome Ms. Pegah Hajipour, a board certified behavior analyst and international behavior analyst at the I Walk and Talk Clinic. Pegah has worked globally helping individuals and families apply practical behavior science to improve their lives. We're looking forward to Pegah's insights on how we can all live a little healthier and happier through intentional behavior change. Welcome, Pegah.
Thank you so much. I'm thrilled to be here, and I hope I can add to the discussion of healthier and happier lives.
I'm confident you will.
Thank you.
Pegah, what behavioral principles like reinforcement and habit formation can help people live healthier and happier lives?
Okay, so when we talk about healthier and happier lives, it's not just about making these big dramatic changes in your world. It's about making small, scientifically backed behavioral changes that will systematically add to your daily routine and make it a sustainable change. I would say one of the biggest game changers is setting goals. Always set goals and track your progress, because there's no point in setting a goal if you're not monitoring how you're doing. So definitely set your goals, make them realistic, make it very specific. Don't just say, I'm going to start exercising. You need to say, I'm going to start walking for 10 minutes a day, and track your progress and then build up on that. And then reinforcement, which is what you touched on. It is one of our biggest strategies in behavior analysis. And it's about providing yourself a positive consequence for the efforts that you put in. So if I have gone for that walk, what am I going to do next? I'm going to reward myself. The reward doesn't need to be, a big dinner. It doesn't need to be getting yourself bags or shoes. It can be putting a checklist, putting that tick on a checklist, and that is more than enough. And then I think you touched on habit formation. The science basically says that if you do something in a particular context continuously, so let's say every morning after coffee, I go for a 10-minute walk. If I do this consistently, then it becomes a habit. And through time, this becomes effortless. I don't need to worry about it because it becomes like breathing now, and I can just get up and go. So that is what I would probably say is a couple of ways that I would add to making my life healthier and happier. And I might be going on for a little more, but one of the other things I really like is life gets messy, right? Life gets messy, and sometimes you just can't do that 30-minute cardio workout. So what I like to tell my clients, what I like to tell, when I coach families, is reframe the way you say that. Don't say, for example, I'm too tired, I'm not going to work out. Instead say, if I'm tired, I won't work out, but I will go for a walk instead. So you're still sticking to some part of your goal without really losing out. So don't make dramatic changes overnight. Small, consistent changes is what I would say are most effective.
This sounds very logical and helpful. Why do we struggle to stick to goals like eating healthily or exercising?
This is probably one of the questions I get asked a lot. And my background was actually health psychology. So I really like how behavior analysis and health psychology can come together to support with this. See, one of the biggest problems is that we think motivation is constant, and it's not. Motivation is not constant. It's a fluctuating emotion. It goes up and down. Sometimes I'm very motivated, sometimes I'm not. And that's the main problem. We don't account for that dip. We don't account for that part where today I'm going to wake up and I'm not motivated, right? Yeah. And I'm going to tell you this, don't worry. If you're not motivated, you're not broken. You're human. It happens to all of us, right? But the first thing I would like to say is kind of understand and look at your environment. How is your environment designed? In terms of behavior analysis, if I want to engage in a particular behavior, then I have to make sure the things that promote that behavior are available. So let's say I want to work out. I have to make sure my exercise clothes are ready. Keep them by the on the bed or pack my bag and keep it by the door so that when I wake up in the morning, I see those things, right? If it's in the closet, guess what? You're not going to do it, right? But keep them ready. It's the same with snacks. I love chocolates. I love cookies, but I make sure I don't buy them and I don't put them in my cabinet. Instead, I buy the healthy snacks and I make them visible. They are visible to me. So if I suddenly feel peckish, I will walk to the kitchen and I'll be like, well, there's a healthy snack. I'll have that healthy snack. Oh, there's an apple. I'll have that apple. So make things accessible for yourself. And throughout it, I'm going to repeat this. I think you're going to hear me say this a lot, but reinforce your behavior.
Yeah.
Every time you do something that adds to your goal, every step you take, even if it's small, reinforce yourself. And just bear in mind, what you find reinforcing may be different from me. I like doing my nails. Maybe you like massages. So do what's tailored to your specific needs. And I think that would be probably one of the reasons why many reasons why we struggle. And a final note I will add on this is there's that self-determination theory that we have in psychology. It's by Deci and Ryan. And what that one basically says, if your goals, right, if your goals are aligned with your values, then you're more likely to stick to them. I think one of my values is friendship, for example, right? So I am the kind of person who likes to be with friends, who likes to socialize. So what I put, if I have that as a value, then I will make the effort to see my friends on a weekly basis. The same with you. If health is something important to you, you won't say, I have to work out. No, you're going to say, I am the kind of person who likes to take care of my body, so I will work out. You see how that reframing just makes it more positive and lighter and just easier to experience. So I would say, don't rely too much on motivation, but create your environment to support your behavior change.
I agree, and actually, I like the idea of self-reinforcement because in busy life we think about every responsibility we have around us and we forget about ourselves. But if you are doing something good, why you don't motivate yourself and reinforce yourself?
Exactly.
How to build habits that last using behavior analytic strategies.
Okay. So again, we have to go back to what the science of behavior is about, right? When you talk about building habits, what we focus on is understanding what actually drives behavior, not just what we intend to do. Because a lot of people plan to do things, but what is the driving force behind you actually engaging in that behavior, right? Shaping is a behavior analytic term, and it's one of the most effective ways to support behavior change. So, what I mean by that is, suppose you want to start, doing a 5K walk 3 times a week. Don't come and start doing that from the beginning.
Of course.
No, because there are people who will. But what you're going to end up doing is if you start doing that, you're setting yourself up for failure because that's tough, especially if you haven't worked out for 6 months and now you're going 3 times a week doing that kind of run. What we suggest is, guess what? Put on your running shoes, go for a 20-minute walk every day, reinforce that behavior. Put it on your, check it off your checklist, have an accountability partner. So my friend just started going back to the gym and she told me, Pegah, I'm going to go back to the gym and I'm going to go for this much time every day. And I said, slow down. You haven't been to the gym for 6 months. I think you need to do it like this. Do it for 30 minutes, do it 3 times a week, then build it up to every 5 days a week. Do it systematically and gradually. And guess what? Reinforcement. I keep saying that. Make sure you reinforce your behavior with anything, whatever suits you. Some people like that sense of accomplishment. So maybe my friend likes calling me and saying, Pegah, I worked out today. And I tell her, wow, amazing job. Maybe she likes that. Maybe you like to, go and get yourself a little, iced latte. Go for it. Whatever helps you maintain that behavior. And the way there's a saying in behavior analysis that says, Behavior goes where reinforcement flows,
I agree.
right? So if it feels good to me, I'm going to keep doing it. So guess what? I worked out and I got my iced latte. I'm probably going to work out tomorrow again. And change your environment. Don't put the cookies in front of you if you're
Yeah,
trying to eat better, right? Put a healthy protein bar in the closet so you see that first, not the cookie. I'm not saying stop eating cookies, but be mindful of how you arrange your environment. It makes such a difference.
I agree. Pegah, why people fail at New Year's resolutions and how behavior analysis offer a better path.
This is a personal pet peeve of mine. I don't do New Year's resolutions. I used to do them, and guess what? I used to fail. And there's a lot of research. There's a lot of research that says people get super hyped up and they put, these New Year resolutions and they get super excited. But guess what? The research shows that by February, 80% of people have failed. And the reason for that is because the goals they set are very vague, it's unrealistic expectations, and they rely too much on motivation, which we kind of discussed right now, right? Motivation it fluctuates. And what I would suggest from the behavior analytic perspective is we don't ask, what do I want to change? Instead, we will ask, what is maintaining my current behavior? What is making me do this, let's say, unhealthy thing over and over again? And what can I change about my environment to support a positive change, right? Because that's at the end of the day what we need to do. Something is making you eat unhealthy. What is that? Something is making you not go to the gym every day. So what is that? Once you've understood that, break it down. Break it down into what we say small, measurable steps. Again, remember those goals? Don't just say, I want to go running. Be very specific. I want to go running for 20 minutes a day. I want to go running every weekend. Whatever your goal is, be very specific about that. And you're going to guess what I'm going to say next, right? Reinforcement.
Yes.
Make sure you reinforce your behavior because without it, it's not going to really be very effective. And I know there are a lot of people who say, but you keep talking about reinforcement. Guess what? You work every day, right? You go to work every day. What are you going to work for? Yes, I love my job. Don't get me wrong. I love my job, but I also like my paycheck. The paycheck is reinforcement because guess what? That paycheck is going to buy me clothes. That paycheck is going to pay my bills and everything, right? So we are getting reinforcement every day without even knowing. So make sure you reinforce your own behavior.
I agree. And how behavior analysis supports mental wellness.
So, this is something very close to my heart, and this is something that over the last couple of years I have actually been investing more time in just to self educate myself, to take courses about it, because there's so much that behavior analysis can do for mental health. I think people, when they first hear about behavior analysis, the first thing they think about is autism treatment, right? And yes, we support a lot of individuals with autism through behavior analysis, but behavior analysis really helps support anxiety, can support stress, can support burnout, all of those things, right? At its core, behavior analysis is understanding why we engage in a behavior. Why are you doing it, right? And then we use that information to create an environment that supports healthier behavior patterns. So if I see that you're eating unhealthy, I try to understand why you're eating unhealthy. What is the trigger? What makes you pick up that burger? And then what's the consequence? The consequence is probably that momentary satisfaction you get, but what is the trigger? What has pushed you to pick that up? And that's what we look at when we're looking for information about mental health. Another thing is when you talk about reinforcement in the context of mental health, you have to see it in light of, so when you come to me, right? When you come to me and let's say you have your problems and whatnot, the way I support you is I teach you skills and I teach you behaviors that will bring you joy, that will bring you connection, and that will bring you a sense of accomplishment. It's going to take a little time, obviously, because suddenly you're not going to become happy, but I'm going to teach you the skills to do that. And what this links to is behavior activation, which is a CBT theory that guides individuals who are feeling sad, who have no motivation, and tells them, well, remember you used to enjoy going out with your friends? Let's start going back and engaging with your friends, because those are rewarding experiences. And there's so much research that says that this process actually helps people who are experiencing depression and so forth. Again, break it down, break everything down. If I see that you're experiencing anxiety or if you're experiencing burnout, again, I will figure out what this overwhelming task is. Is it your, I don't know, the reports you have to write? If it's the reports you have to write, we'll figure out a way for you to write the reports in a more, in a fashion that gives you breaks, in a fashion that you can plan your time better, and so forth.
Great. And what's the role of mindfulness and behavior tracking in managing anxiety, depression, and stress?
So I like that you've come to this point, because this links a lot to the previous area that we were discussing. And there's a lot of research right now, again, in behavior analysis and mindfulness. In fact, one of the main areas of behavior analysis right now is this therapy that we call acceptance and commitment therapy, which incorporates the science of behavior with mindfulness. So it goes to show that there's a lot of positive outcomes when you combine these two. I'll start with mindfulness. What is mindfulness? It's about, being in the present moment, observing what's happening, observing your thoughts without judgment, which is so challenging, right? But without judgment, just notice what's happening around you. So I might say, right now, I might be sitting here and I'll be like, I am anxious, right? But with a mindfulness technique, what I would do is I would say, I notice I am feeling anxious. And then I move it to, I notice that I am thinking that I am anxious. So what you end up doing is you detach it. It is no longer this absolute event. It is now something that is just a mental event that, let's say, you can put on a cloud and watch that feeling go. Because you cannot make words like that define you, right? So that's where the mindfulness comes in. And then where does the behavior analysis come in? Behavior tracking. So you've noticed we collect a lot of data. Everything is about monitoring yourself, right? So monitor yourself. Track every day, just track. When did I feel good? What was I doing? How did that make me feel good? Track that, because then what this will help you see is you're going to end up seeing the patterns of behavior that is occurring that is making you feel sad. So you'll be like, that day I was doing this. This is what caused me to feel sad. It's so, in a way, simplistic, but sometimes we're looking for this magical pill to fix everything. It does take effort. I'm not going to lie. It takes effort. But with practice, and be compassionate to yourself, be kind to yourself. You will get that awareness, and you will get that, I'm going to get better with this sort of treatment for myself.
Actually, I agree with you 100%. And the most that caught my attention about mindfulness, that we have to be here and now without judgment. And this is very difficult because for people, many people think that self improvement starting with self judgment. And this becomes the biggest problem. And we have to empathize with ourselves.
That's such a good word, empathize. Be compassionate, be kind. And as you said, I think we're the worst critics of ourselves, right? We are our own worst critics. And what I have realized with this mindfulness exercises is literally, instead of saying, I am bad, I am sad, I am not, pretty, just change it to, I notice I'm having the thought that I'm not pretty, because then that just makes it a thought. It is no longer this stamped thing on your, personality. So I think it takes practice, but it's something that will help us.
Yeah, and I agree, because if we don't judge ourselves, we are not going to allow anyone else to judge us.
Exactly. And that's a very powerful statement.
Thank you. Pegah, how do you encourage parents to use behavior strategies to support positive behavior at home?
So this is probably one of my favorite areas to talk about because I do work with a lot of children, and I think I started my career working with children, and now I'm training people to work with children. So I do a lot of parent coaching, and the first thing I always tell parents is, please, please focus on reinforcement. It's so easy. It's so easy to see someone who is engaging in problem behavior and say, stop doing that, right? It's so easy. So, what we train parents, what we coach parents to do is instead of seeing that, see that your child is doing something good. Maybe he picked up a piece of tissue and threw it in the bin. Tell him, I love that you cleaned up. That's all you need to do. Maybe he helped his brother by just showing him how to do something. I love that you helped your brother do that. When your child starts getting that positive feedback for the behavior he's engaging in, guess what's going to happen? He's going to engage in that behavior more often because he got something good out of it, right? Um, with children, again, I would tell parents put clear expectations and routines. Children thrive on routine. They love knowing what is happening at 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, right? We like it. We put our schedule on our calendar, right? If I didn't have my calendar, I would probably lose my mind. So just think of it the same with children. They like having that schedule. Let them know what's going to happen, because when they know what's going to happen, then they don't require to engage in problem behavior because the schedule is set. They know what's supposed to happen. I also like to suggest prompt your children and shape their behavior. So, what I mean by that is sometimes your child is not 100% confident in the skills, and that's okay. Teach them, guide them, and then slowly, slowly take your steps back so that they become more independent. Um, I would add though, in some cases, your child might be acting out. And you come to me and you're like, Pegah, this is not typical behavior of my child. What do I do? So, in those situations, I would probably suggest look at what happens before he starts screaming. Look at what happens before he starts crying. And look at what happens after the behavior. Because once you get this information, then it's easier for you to respond effectively as opposed to reacting only. So, clear communication, consistent, and I would say positive reinforcement is the guidance I would provide with parents.
Actually, I like your approach, and this takes me back to the word without judgment, because sometimes what happens is that if our children are acting out, we judge them like others. We don't empathize even with our children the way we don't empathize with ourselves. So we have to listen to our children because those are complete human beings. They are masterpieces, they have their gifts, they have their own wavelength of thinking. Why don't we listen to them and understand why they are acting this way? And the way we are going to understand is going to be the best way we are going to direct them.
Exactly. And one thing we say, if a child is screaming and crying, it's a form of communication.
Yeah.
Right? Something has happened. They're not just doing it to bother you. In fact, something is bothering them.
They are objecting to something inside.
Probably.
How cultural differences influence health behaviors?
Okay, so I would say they definitely influence health behaviors because everyone is brought up with a different sort of set of rules. Everyone is brought up understanding life in a different way. I think we're very lucky to be in the UAE because we have this mix of diverse cultures and we get to find out and learn about so many different people and what they like, what they don't like. Wow, they can do this. Wow, they don't do this. Again, do it all without judgment, obviously. But it's important to see it and understand it. So I'll give you an example for, I think a lot of the Middle Eastern and South Asian cultures, when it comes to health, it's a collective responsibility of the whole family, right? It's the whole family getting involved. How are we going to do this? Who are we going to call for support? Which doctor are we going to go to? And all of that. Whereas the Western community, they're more individualistic. So it's one person saying, I'm going to go to the doctor. They don't need 50 people getting involved, right? And that's okay. But it's important to understand it, because when you go to, let's say, an Emirati family's house, I need to understand that grandma's going to be there, that dad is going to be there, mom is going to be there, the brother is going to be there. They're all going to be sitting there. So I have to be prepared for that. Yeah. For me personally, I'm an Iranian. And when it comes to healthy eating, it's sometimes problematic for me because we love rice. It's a staple dish in our culture. And I like rice with everything, right? So if a nutritionist comes to me and says, Pegah, I'm going to put you a nutritional plan and there's going to be no rice, I will probably say, no, thank you. So that's why culture matters. Because when you're putting a plan in place, you need to know what's important to this person so that you can support their journey, but in the right way. So that's where I would think. I think cultural context is very important.
I agree. What people get wrong about applied behavior analysis and how it's applied beyond autism treatments?
See, I think behavior analysis is widely known for its use with autism treatment or autism intervention. There's a lot of success that has been researched on that. But I think one of the biggest myths is that ABA is about behavior control, which it's not. It's not about behavior control. It's not about making people do things that you want them to do. The reality is ABA is about understanding, why are you engaging in this behavior, and how can I support you in a positive manner by changing your environment to support some positive changes in your behavior. It's about teaching you skills. It's about making you independent, and it's about giving you a better quality of life. If I have a child who needs toilet training and they don't have clear language, that is what I'm doing. I'm supporting them become more independent by teaching them the skills they need to become toilet trained. And then beyond autism, look at ABA. ABA is great for schools. It helps with learning. It's great for workplace in terms of safety protocols. And it's also great in health settings in terms of teaching people how to adhere to their medication, which is a huge problem, and also healthy eating. So someone who's just gone through a surgery or some form of treatment, they're definitely going to need to understand how to adhere to their medication, how to eat better, etc. So see ABA as this versatile toolkit that supports people of different ages and background to build better habits, build new skills, and really live richer lives.
That's awesome. Pegah, what's your top tip for someone wanting to improve their health today?
I would say start moving a little more. We don't move as much. We're so reliant on cars. We're so reliant on, just public transport, which is great, but we don't walk as much. So start moving. Anything, even a 10-minute walk, start doing that.
Yeah.
And reinforce your behavior. Yay, I did a 10-minute walk today. Check on my list, Put it as part of your schedule.
Yeah.
Don't just say, I'm going to go for a walk. So that would be my main thing, a tip for someone. Make sure you just start moving, because guess what? That movement is going to bring about some good feelings. And when you get that good feeling, what are you going to do? You're going to do more of it.
Yeah.
So
I agree 100%, and actually it's about the will and how we listen to the advice, because I see many people walking in the mall in their trainers. So if you have the will, you have the way.
I also think, and I think this is it, right? Make sure there's something coming after that walk. Make sure there's something coming after that walk, because it has to be fun for you. Listen to good music on the walk, Take a friend with you for the walk. I tell people, get on the phone. So how I talk on the phone, I walk.
Awesome.
I only walk when I talk on the phone, because it's the only way, it's for the main reason, it's the only way I can pay attention.
Yeah.
But then I also realize it's a good way for me to move.
Yeah.
Because I sit behind the computer a lot.
Yeah, and when you talk on the phone while you're walking, you have a company. You are not
Exactly.
You are not alone. You don't get tired. You don't get bored.
It's reinforcing.
It's reinforcing. So how to use behavioral principles to create self-care routine that sticks?
The trick is start really small. If you're going to start doing mindfulness and meditation, don't aim for 30-minute meditation exercise, because guess what? You're probably going to fail. I would say start with the 3-minute exercises, build up to the 10-minute meditation exercises. Start small. That is my main sort of tip on how you can build self-care routines. And then make sure you treat yourself. Always treat yourself. A Netflix show after your workout. I don't know, your favorite salad after a workout. Listening to your favorite song after a workout. Anything that helps you feel like, oh, I did a great thing, you know?
Yeah.
And just fix your environment, change your environment. If you're struggling with sleep, because I know a lot of people struggle with sleep, and I had that issue myself, one thing that I have learned to do is put my phone off social media, let's say after 8 p.m. And that has done wonders uh, because social media is very dangerous, even for us as adults. There's a lot of judgment that we start having on ourselves when we go through, you know, Instagram and LinkedIn. Oh my God, she got another master's degree. Oh my God, she got a PhD, right? And this, imagine doing this before bedtime. So self-care routine, put the phone, you want to keep your phone, you want to do WhatsApp chat, that's okay. But social media, please switch off as early as you can so that your brain starts relaxing. So yeah, I'd say meditate, movement, turn off social media.
Agree. Pegah, how do you support caregivers in terms of burnout prevention?
I think one of the biggest things I have noticed with professionals, especially, and caregivers, especially if they have a child, you know, on the spectrum or they have a child with special needs, burnout is a huge problem. What I've noticed mainly with professionals is they don't have the that understanding of how to separate work from home. So what we guide them is to set boundaries. That from the beginning, you're going to put clear boundaries and you're going to use environmental cues to support that. So for me, if you notice when I came in, I have two phones, right? One is my work phone, one is my personal phone. And what I do with the work phone, 7 p.m., that work phone is not in my sight, sometimes even 6 p.m. Because guess what, guys? Nothing that urgent is going to happen.
Yeah.
Nothing, unless you're an on-call doctor who has to, you know, be ready to go to the hospital. As someone who is a behavior analyst, as someone who is in administration, keep your phone off. Spend time with your family, right? And monitor yourself. Monitor yourself. Again, in behavior analysis, we do a lot of tracking, but monitor yourself. What is causing me to suddenly get anxious? What is causing me to suddenly feel stressed? And note those things down and then be like, okay, what can I now do to support some positive changes? But those are some tips I would give families. And if you are a mom or a dad or someone who's in the office or at home, schedule mini reinforcing breaks. What do I mean by that? Take 5 minutes away from your kids. If you have to go to the toilet for that break, go. But just take 5 minutes away, take a breath. If you're at work, go down for a coffee, take a book. 15 minutes, read a few pages, and so forth. But when you schedule in these reinforcing breaks, it helps you manage your day better and it helps you reduce your stress levels.
Agree. And we have to treat ourselves of burnout.
Yeah, I mean, the last thing you want is to be burnt out because then you're not going to help anyone else. You're not
Yeah.
helping yourself and you're not helping anyone else.
Very true. Is there an intersection between behavior analysis and holistic health practices like yoga, nutrition, and sleep hygiene?
So, based on what we've sort of talked about so far, I would say yes, and they share a very common focus, and that is changing behaviors to improve well being. They're all focused on making us have better lives, they're all focused on getting us to be happier. So, that would definitely be the intersection. And how behavior analysis can help again is it looks at what's stopping you from being healthy, and it looks at how I can change the environment to support you to become more healthy. So, yeah, I think combining behavior science and holistic approaches really will create a powerful toolkit for lasting health improvements.
Thank you. I think health practices like yoga, nutrition, and sleep hygiene are crucial for everyone because, like, I don't think if anyone is not sleeping, he's gonna be able to function the next day.
100%. 100% agree. Sleep deprivation is very high here in the UAE as well. Uh, I see a lot of people and they struggle with getting to sleep. And again, it comes down to simple behavior changes like the phone. Keep your phone outside the room. If you're charging it at night, don't charge it next to your bed. At least charge it next to a cabinet. So when you're lying in bed, you're like, I'm too lazy. I'm not going to go to my phone, you know? Do things like that. It's small changes that make a big difference.
Agreed. And this brings us to the end of our episode today. Thank you, Pegah Hajipour from I Walk and Talk Clinic for joining us and sharing us such valuable real world strategies. I believe we're all walking away with a better understanding of how small intentional behaviors can truly lead to a healthier and happier life. To our listeners, if there is one thing you do after this episode, let it be this: pick one small habit and start reinforcing yourself today. Your future self will thank you for it. As always, take care of your health, protect your peace, and keep living your life on purpose. And if today's episode inspired you, don't forget to subscribe and share it with someone who's working on healthier habits. Until next time, stay healthy, stay happy, and take joy wherever you go. Thank you, Pega.
Thank you for having me. It was lovely chatting with you.
Same here. Thank you.